Good morning, all. I wonder how you all are this week. Hopefully, you've been enjoying some of our nice sunny weather up in Aberdeenshire. Driving over to Aberdeen for an appointment this week, it was a lovely sunny day and there were some rather wobbly legged lambs in the fields with their mothers. Lambing season is truly upon us, and our local farmers and shepherds are keeping busy. It seems timely, therefore, to have the reading of the Good Shepherd at this time of year. I know I've told this story before, but when I was first ordained, I was curate to a group of parishes in Snowdonia, sheep farming country. And the first spring there, I was being eyed up by a lot of the farmers when I went visiting. Were they interested in my then sylph-like figure, my bubbly personality, my smile? No, it was my small hands. Had I ever done any lambing? Would I like to give it a go? I did it once. It was fine. I'd prefer not to do it again. However, it has to be said, that was said out of consideration for the sheep. It was far better for them to have a small hand helping out rather than a burly sheep farmer's. In my second group of parishes, there were a couple, Di and Maggie, who ran a small holding with a handful of sheep. They steadfastly refused to name the sheep on the basis that it would make life so much harder when they had to go to the slaughter. So they called them by numbers instead. The trouble was, for the sheep, the number was the name. So Pedwar, 4, used to come running when her name was called. Di and Maggie were very good shepherds, they still are, and the sheep knew them. They knew the sheep by name or number. If a visitor was taken up to see the sheep, they would head in the opposite direction, unless the visitor had been clothed in one of Di or Maggie's jackets, in which case you could get quite close, but then the sheep would sense the difference or hear the different voice and shoot off again. No matter what time of day or night, Di and Maggie seemed to be able to sense if there was something wrong with the sheep, or something that needed doing to keep them safe and happy. Shepherds on a big or small scale have a heart and mind for their sheep. In the time of Jesus, as now, it was not a comfortable job. It involved being out at all hours in all weathers, trying to look after some rather recalcitrant beasts. Now, in the land and time of Jesus, there were still large predators who looked at the sheep with interest, and it was the shepherd's job to put himself in danger to protect the sheep. That's why, in this reading from the story of the Good Shepherd, Jesus says, I lay down my life for the sheep. It was part of the job of a shepherd. All too often nowadays, the biggest predator to sheep is humans, seeking to make some quick money by sheep rustling. And that's an equal danger to shepherds if they happen to get in the way. Being a shepherd is a dangerous job. The life is not a particularly easy one. Sheep can be a bit thick. If one falls over the cliff, it will easily lead all the others over the same cliff. Then they bleat wanting to be rescued. They're also quite stubborn. If you've ever tried to get a sheep to do something it doesn't want to do, you may as well whistle into the wind. If they lie on their backs, especially when they're pregnant, they can struggle to get up. They get stuck in bramble bushes and try to wiggle through fences for that extra tasty bit of grass, despite being in a field full of the stuff. Over the years, they have been bred so that for their health, they have to be sheared every year, otherwise the weight of wool can drag them down and various mites can start to infest them. Do they want to be sheared? Of course not. The shepherd has to look after their general health, to lead them into good pastures, to help them when they get in trouble. And the sheep do respond to the love and care of the shepherd, although there are always a few stubborn ones who want to go their own way, even if it leads them into danger. So when we are compared to sheep, are we really that bad? Well, we tend to be good at following the group, especially in times of danger and frustration. Someone else is making the decisions, and for a while we follow blindly onwards, unaware of what pitfalls lie ahead. So perhaps the first question to ask ourselves is, who are we following? Are we following a wise shepherd? Are we following somebody who is prepared to lay down their life for ours? Or are we just following another sheep? Are you willing to change tracks if you notice you're heading the wrong direction? Or will you stubbornly go your own way? Often as humans, we stay heading the same way because we don't want to admit that we've made a mistake. We feel that if we do, others will laugh at us or blame us, which is true to a point. When we are unsure or feel unsafe, we often look for someone else to blame. When things go wrong, we look for someone else to blame. Witness the various blame games happening in the current news situation. Where were the mistakes made in handling the COVID crisis? Why were borders not closed earlier? Who paid bribes to whom? Why isn't there more testing? Why is the lifting of lockdown going on so long? Why can't it be quicker? Why can't it be slower? And so on. When you are stuck in a briar bush, playing the blame game is the equivalent of getting further entangled instead of standing still and working the route out. That takes time and it can leave you feeling helpless. But sometimes we just need to wait for someone else to work out the escape route without blaming them for why we have ended up where we have ended up. If the current situation is making you tired or grumpy or short-tempered with those around you, look for the source of calm in the turmoil. Look for the shepherd. Take your lead from there, not from the baying hounds looking for a victim. Are you looking for a shepherd who will lay his life down for you? Or are you just following another sheep? The fact is that over the centuries, people have searched for a point of stability, of calm in chaos, a place of rest and of shelter. And for us as Christians, that point should be found in our God. Often we find it difficult to find that point. We get so surrounded by the chaos of the everyday world, by our day-to-day events, that we fail to look to the Good Shepherd. We fail to look to our God. Yet if we look back over the pattern of our lives, often his faithfulness, his presence in times of need can be discerned. It doesn't mean that everything's suddenly okay. It doesn't mean that we're not in the storm or in the chaos. But it does mean that we can trust in our God, our Good Shepherd, the faithful one, the one who lays down his life for us, the one who will shelter and protect us, who will show us a path to walk in, and who will lead us onwards into calmer times. Jesus said, I am the Good Shepherd. Seek him with all your heart and mind and soul. Amen.